Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Create with Chris. Today is something very sweet. I think you're going to absolutely love. One of my very favorite, probably summertime treats is watermelon, and we are going to create one that is just adorable. Thank you for joining us today. Lindsay is here as well. If you have any questions, she will be on it in a heartbeat. If you are just signing on, let us know where you're from. If you've not been here before, thank you for joining us, and I hope you're going to enjoy this project today. We have people joining on, Lindsay.
Okay. It's a little quiet yet. No one said, oh, there we go. Bonnie from Oklahoma City. Good morning.
Hi, Bonnie. Oh,
Mike from East Tennessee, loving all the new stuff.
thank you, Mike. Glad you're here. Always enjoy hearing from him.
He actually sent me an email yesterday. I haven't had a chance to
Oh,
reply. So, Mike, I was not ignoring you. Mondays are a little crazy.
yeah, kind of hectic.
It's on my
Monday.
to-do for today.
Yeah,
So,
I kind of snuck out on. I wasn't here yesterday, so she was flying solo. So she had a lot on her plate.
we have Stacy from Florida and Nicole from Arizona.
Both sunshine states. Actually, we're enjoying summer weather here too. So I'm in my element, Lindsay.
You're enjoying summer weather. I am not. I've already said I hate summer 3 times.
Yeah, she's a snow
This month,
bunny.
I don't like summer.
Yeah, I just love it. The hotter, the better. Well,
Good morning, Lynn. Linda O'Connell, good morning.
Hi, Linda.
Good morning, Cheryl from Kansas.
Hi,
All
Cheryl.
right. We're going to go ahead and flip the camera,
Okay. Oops.
get started.
Are we flipped?
Yep.
Okay, this is what we're doing today. I'm super excited about it. I played around with some different techniques. Oh my gosh, this is so easy. You guys are going to absolutely be amazed at how quickly this comes together. So let's go ahead and get started. I started out with, this is a 7-inch rounded square. And I just base coated it with bleach sand. It just provides a very neutral background palette. Before I base coated, I did seal it with multi-purpose sealer, give it a nice even coat. If you look really, really closely, it's not perfectly solidly covered. It's okay. This, as long as it's even. And even though you might see a little bit, the brush strokes are up and down. So if any of them do show, it just is a nice smooth coverage. So that's what you want to keep in mind. If it really bothers you, put a second coat on. I chose bleach sand because it is a nice opaque color and I can get by with one even coat. With white, it's definitely going to take 2 coats, especially on the MDF. It's a little bit of a darker background. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, I forgot my plantation pine. This is avocado toast. This is one, did this come out last year, Lindsay?
Yes.
The beautiful kind of an avocado color. And I've got my number 10 fabulous flat. Okay, so I want to create the rind, and I can take a pattern and I can trace it all around, or I'm going to use the width of the brush to create the width of the rind. And I'm taking my paint, I'm going to thin it down a fair amount. And this is one of the benefits of having a brighter background. I'm going to allow this to play off of that background to create it's almost going to look striated. So watch it and you'll see. I'm just going to start and just pull it around. Now, if your paint is not, your brush is not loose enough, doesn't have enough moisture in it, you're not going to get a very long stroke. And I'm adding more water. And I'm just going to go around the edge. See how that creates that look of, you get the hint of a brush stroke. And I'm letting the width of the brush create the width of the rind. Super simple. And now I don't have to worry about removing any tracing lines. Just gonna pull that around. Guys, this is a very whimsical piece, so I don't have to have it perfect all the way around. If the corners are a little bit thicker, that's okay. I'm all right with that. I'm working quickly. And that way I can go back and just smooth everything out. But that paint is still nice and loose. When I say loose, I mean it has moisture in it. I can still move it around. Okay, there, that's our rind. How easy is that? And I'm going to let that dry. While that is drying, we're going to jump to the middle. And of course, we have to. There's no question about the inside has to be watermelon slice. I mean, does that not only make sense? And you can see on here on my palette, I put out just a tiny bit of avocado toast because I thinned it down so much. I just used just a portion of that. I am going to switch to my 3/4 inch awesome angle. And again, the brush is damp, but it's not drippy wet. I played around with this at home because I wanted to find an easy way to create this watermelon without working really, really hard. It's not that I mind spending a lot of time painting, but if it can be still look good with a minimal amount of effort, I think that's what makes it more fun. I can enjoy spending more time doing the details. Now I've loaded just probably 1/3 of the brush with the watermelon slice. I want to skip about 1/2 inch for that white rind area. And I'm just going to eyeball this. And I'd rather it be a little bit thin than too heavy. What I'm doing is just creating that border edge. I'm using a bigger brush, and you'll see why in just a minute. And I want to just go around that and fade it out. I want to make sure that I just don't have a sharp, heavy line, like a floating line on the inside. And just slow down, take my time here. Moisture, that's the key. You want that paint to move around. And you can eyeball this. If you're nervous about eyeballing it, go ahead and put that tracing line in there. Okay. And I do have kind of a ghost line on the inside, and I'm just taking a clean brush, basically kind of mopping that down. What I want to focus on is this edge here, making sure that's pretty clean. Plantation pine, I know you got that. Oh, right here. I'm going to jump over to plantation pine. And going back to the green rind, just let that dry a little bit. Going back to the number 10 flat, thinning that plantation pine. Can you see the palette, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Thinning that down. I want to have a translucent coverage. The paint needs to be strong enough that it'll be visible, but I don't want it solid and heavy. Now I want the chisel edge, I'm just dropping it right on the edge of the rind, pulling it across. And I'm skipping about that much area and just adding these little stripes in here. If I bump that chisel edge right up against the edge of the white, I get a nice straight line and it doesn't protrude past. Make sure that brush is loaded with enough moisture that it's going to pull that line all the way across. You don't want to stop and start mid-stripe. It doesn't take a lot of talent. Just take your time and make sure you have nice, smooth lines. Look how nice that is. Definitely starting to look watermelonish. And I thought it would be fun just to brighten these stripes up a little bit more. It's always these little details. You know my mantra, a little bit of paint makes a big difference. So I'm going to my Epic script liner. This is the 18-aught and citron green, and loading it well, but I still have a nice slender bristle. It doesn't have that big bulb of paint on the tip. And we'll just add this little wiggle stroke. And I probably don't need to worry about that one because the crow is going to be right over top of it. But if you decide you don't want to add the crow, you may decide to put something else there. This is just a really great way to create watermelon quickly. Oops, go into the right color here. And look how nicely, just that little bit of design, it brightens it up. And if I decide after it dries, I need to go back and add another top coat over that, I can do that. But this is subtle design, so we'll just let that kind of be where it's at for now. I think a lot of times we overthink our painting and we look for the final goal instead of taking each step as we go as just a step towards the end. I'm going to add just a hint of raw sienna. I'm using my 3/8 inch angle. Actually, that's a half. That's a half. Okay, I'm going to go to a 3/8 because I am thinning that down considerably. And I'm just going to shoot. I always drag my hand through it, so I'm going to dry it up just a little bit. This is one of the little touches that will start to really build depth. And even though this is a simple, fun, quick and easy project, when you start adding this floated color on here, oh my goodness, look at that. It's just amazing. Want to make sure I have plenty of moisture on that brush. And I know I say that a lot, but that is the key to being able to move this paint around easily and blend it together nicely and have it turn out well.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Chris, I haven't seen you eat any watermelon yet this year. Chris loves watermelon. It's like her favorite.
I'm on my second one.
Oh, I haven't seen you eat it here, though.
No, I haven't bought it.
She eats a lot of watermelon in summer. I hate watermelon.
Watermelon and strawberries. And I think something's wrong with Lindsay.
I love cantaloupe, though. Love cantaloupe, but I do not like watermelon.
That's funny because most people don't care for
and I think
cantaloupe.
I think it's because I ate so much as a kid. I think it's one of those things. I ate a lot as a kid. I don't like it anymore. Nope, just give me cantaloupe.
I feel sad for her.
She feels sad for me a lot with the stuff I don't like. Summer, watermelon.
Look at the difference that a little bit of shade makes. This watermelon's starting to look real yummy, Lindsay.
Nope. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, now for the fun part. I'm going to put a little bit more watermelon slice. I have a sea wool sponge. Now, there are a lot of different types of sponge. And I think the best way to describe why you pick what sponge you want is how open these little, are they cells on a sponge? This little texture. Okay, now I have dampened this and I stick it in my water bowl, kind of rinse it out, squeeze it out, and then I take it in a paper towel and just crunch it. So it's still very damp, but it's not wet or drippy. And I'm going to, if you look at what you're using, you'll see what type of texture you're getting. Does that make sense? If you go with a smoother end, the texture is not going to be as pronounced. So I'm just going to, I've got a little moisture here, tapping it on my palette. And I'm tapping it and tapping it and tapping it. I want to disperse it on my palette so I don't have, like, if you just go into the paint, you're going to have a blob of paint. When you stencil or when you tap it on the surface, you're going to get a blob of paint. So what you see is what you get. You want to have a delicate pounce. Look at that. This is starting to look watermelon-ish. And I can go right into that. Love this background, shows through, creates that look of watermelon slush. And you do use quite a bit of paint. So I'm going to grab a little bit more. And I'm just going to grab my spray bottle because I don't want to, I've already got it loaded and I don't want to have to go dip back into the water brush basin and squeeze it out. So if I missed my sponge or missed my paint, I can get that same effect. Not too, trying to be careful. I don't want to go past that edge line. And look at that beautiful watermelon texture. We're going to create this watermelon in just a heartbeat. I had a stronger line over here. See how it's floated out a little more softly? This is what you want. I'm going to allow that center area to be a little bit lighter, darker around the outer edges. Helps to bring that blending in. I'm not sure what that is.
It's a seed.
Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, there. We've created the watermelon. We're not finished with it yet, but this is what we want. So I'm going to let that kind of simmer there for a moment and go back in with some Snow White. And I'm going to use I thought I pulled it out earlier, my Radical Round. Number 5. This is my favorite brush. Number 5 Radical Round. This is just a truly workhorse brush. It can be a filbert. It can be a liner. It can hold a ton of paint. And I'm just going to go down this edge and brighten that up. And I'm kind of pinching my space a little bit. Can you see how that brightens it up, Lindsay? Is that showing?
Mm-hmm.
Just makes a little bit of a glow. And I might go back later and add a little bit more. But if you have any paint that kind of went past that edge, this will help blend it together. Because white will dry very translucent and it will take several coats to make that as bright as you want it to be. And just bring that all the way up here. See how it brightens it up? Love it. Absolutely love it. But I do want to do a little bit more with this watermelon. Make sure this is dry. Anytime you water down the paint, it's going to take just a bit longer for those heavier areas to dry out. And I don't want it to lift. If it's still wet, when I put this on, it's going to lift it off. Going with deep burgundy and my 1/2 inch angle. And my angles are just a little bit longer than most traditional angles. It's going to give me a longer stroke. Again, I'm going to thin it down quite a bit with moisture, with the water. And I'm going to go in there and darken down that outer edge. And I'm trying to blend that soft, stronger stripe shade out of there. We just went in with a very light tap to get that watermelon flesh. And now I'm going in with a deep burgundy to add some depth to that, kind of tapping and pulling it out. You don't have to have a smooth stroke. You can pull some of that out, just adds a little more depth into the flesh of the watermelon. And I am really overshooting my paint. You don't need near as much as I squirted out. Look how that starts to build that texture. Isn't that beautiful? The deep burgundy and watermelon slice are such wonderful friends. It creates a very deep richness, and they just build on each other very nicely. And you can see I put that paint in there strong, but I can take my brush and just pull it out, move it around. I want to deepen that outer edge, but at the same time, pull it up into the watermelon. And that will, trying to straighten that up and talk. I evidently can't do the nice smooth stroke and talk at the same time. This creates that darkness around the edge, and then you pull it out a little bit, and it builds that darkness at the base of the watermelon. As I come up the side, I won't be as strong on that, pulling it out as much. And I'm going back and getting a considerable amount of moisture as I do this. Look at that. Now, if I decide I need just a little bit more watermelon slice in that middle area, which I think I might. After I've added the shading on there, that middle area looks a little bit light. So I can go back into my watermelon slice and just add a bit more. I don't want to remove all that brightness, but I can tone it down just a little bit more. It was very bright. And until you add the dark, the bright doesn't seem as bright. Does that make any sense? Everything's balanced. Your lights and your darks need to be balanced. I'm going to pull in. This looks a little bit pale around the outer edge. So I'm going in with a little bit of plantation pine. This is my 1/2 inch angle. And this is dry. Maybe I should dry it instead of dragging my hand through it. This is another one of those, oh wow, look at that. I want to be able to move that paint around. Really makes that outer edge glow. Pulls that all together. If you have trouble with pulling a nice smooth float across, you probably don't have enough water on your brush. I can scrub this in, move it around, go back and blend it. And a lot of it too depends on where you live and how arid it is. If the paint dries very quickly and you're limited on your dry time, I know it can be very frustrating, but you can use a little bit of glazing medium. You can mist the surface with water. There's a lot of different tools that you can use to enhance that. We'll let this dry for just a moment. I'm going to add some shading. I did base coat the tag with antique white, and I want it nice shade around the outer edge. And you can see how quickly I'm shading this.
While you're doing that, Susan asked if we carry the sponges that you use, and we do carry a mix pack, and I did put the link in the chat. I think you get 2 synthetic and 2 sea sponges in there, if I remember correctly.
And the synthetic sponges are really nice for base coating too, if you want to base coat with a, really quickly. So it's a nice assorted pack.
Two synthetic, they're the round yellow ones, and then 2 sea wool sponges. And we do stock those.
Oh, just float it around the edge. If this is a little bit choppy, it just creates more personality and a little more aged effect to it. So we'll set that aside. This is my little crow's beak.
Let me tell you a story about this beak. Chris has this habit of finding pieces and she uses them, and she told me this was the polar bear's nose yesterday. It's not.
I have a stash of pieces at home, and every time I have a leftover or I see something that kind of cool, I take it home and put it in my stash. So I found this little beak, and I thought, or a little piece, I thought, this is perfect for a crow's beak.
But it's a bunny nose.
It's a bunny nose.
Yeah. So she does this to me, and then it's this game I have to play. Like, where does this come from?
Lindsay, what is this?
So then, so we played that game yesterday afternoon when she wasn't there. We figured it out though. It only took about 20 minutes.
She never lets me down. I just base coated a little bit of raw sienna, and we put it on the rind, on the watermelon, on the tag, and on the beak. And so that pulls it all together. Ooh, do we have antique white over there, Lindsay? Or something similar?
Ouch.
Okay, while she's looking for that, we could go ahead and
Light mocha? Light mocha?
Yeah, light mocha will be fine. I was pulling all the paints to bring in today, and I thought, oh, I won't need that. So I want to add a little bit of highlight on the crow. And so I'm going with, pretend this is antique white. So many of these shades are very similar and very close. So if you have something close to, you don't have to always be exact. This is my diverse dry brush. This is a number 10. And I'm just loading a bit of antique white on my dry brush, working it in, taking it on a paper towel, offloading most of the paint. I don't want a real heavy application. And I'm just going to make his little tummy round. When it's little, look how easy that is. Oh my gosh, if you want, we'll put a little bit on the top of his head. I can put some on his shoulders. I do want to bump down to a smaller dry brush. Just to have a little more control. The light's going to shine on his shoulders, and then we'll just pull those feathers in. Create that look of dimension. We can enhance it, but look at that. I mean, just that little bit, what a difference that makes. Going in now with some, just going to wipe the brush off, grab a little bit of Snow White. I don't want this too bright. Just going to make his tummy a little bit brighter, a little bit here, and some of those brighter areas. Not a lot, just enough to make that stand out a little bit more. I will bump down to a This is a number 4. These diverse dry brushes are so wonderful. They just take the work out of highlighting. Just going bright. Look at that beak, how it glows. I mean, just rub-a-dub-dub and we've got a highlight. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right. So I want to put his little beak probably about right there. And I could trace on where I want his eyes, but I have a white chalk pencil. I love a white chalk pencil. For several reasons. It's so visible on a dark surface. If you use a light surface, obviously you'll go with a graphite. But what I can do is mark on it and then it just erases. So I'm just going to put his nose there. I want an eye here and an eye there. I mean, how easy is that? Keeping this very simple, guys. Grabbing this is my number 3 spectacular stencil brush, a little bit of Snow White. I like my eyes at a kind of an angle. I'm just going to put it in there, lightly tap. I've offloaded most of the paint on my stencil brush because I want super clean, crisp edges. I'm wiping my template off. This is my Painter's Pal. You got to have these. These make your life so much easier. And not only can I see through the background to line it up, I know exactly where that white chalk line is. Perfect. Give it a little bit of a dry. I've used just a thin amount of paint. 2 light coats is always better than 1 heavy coat. But look how easy this is. Take your time. Don't overload it. Don't pounce super heavy. Be gentle. You push it really hard, you're just going to push that paint right under the stencil. You want a nice, clean, crisp edge. Let the template work. Those eyes are going to be absolutely perfect. Oh my goodness, he's adorable. Okay, let's give this little guy some cheeks. And I'm going back to my number 4, picking up a little bit of watermelon slice, offloading it on my paper towel. You can always go back and add more, but if you have to lift it off, but then again, this is black, so you just paint over it, but make your life easier. I like to build my cheeks up at the same rate. That way they balance. How many times have you done a perfect cheek and you go to do the other one and never matches? If you work at the same time, back and forth, I can almost guarantee they're always going to be pretty much the same intensity. Now I could add a little bit of white in with this. It's going to make it much brighter, but I wanted to keep this rather subtle. So we'll just let it build up. And I think that's a nice cheeky color. Okay, let's go back to the eyes. And I'm going to be using, this Painter's Pal has circles and ovals, which makes it really nice. Just going to go into avocado toast and use that little round circle, and boom, we've got an eyeball. And it fits in there perfectly. You can dip and dot with the handle into your brush, but I mean, why would you? This is so easy. I'm gonna let that, okay, we're gonna let that dry. I do like to spend just a tad bit more time on the eyes because I think when you create something that has an eyeball, everybody kind of looks into the eyes. It's just natural. Picking up a hint of plantation pine on the toe of my 1/8 inch angle. Just going to swipe it around that bottom edge. Oh my goodness, look what a little bit, can you see that, Lindsay? Just that little hint of color,
You
really.
might need to zoom in just a little bit.
Okay,
There you go.
right way, awesome. Okay, and we're going to add a pupil. I'm going to dip dot the pupil with the stylus. And always check and make sure your stylus is going to be the right size. I don't know why, there it is. It always seems like, I have 3 different styluses. This one is super fine. I've had it for years. It's a low Cornell, so that's probably, I've had this years
You've had it a
before they
long time, yeah.
changed hands. This one is DreamWorks, which I believe was from Stampendos. It has medium-sized tips on, and this one is also from Stampendos, has big tips on. So you can get styluses in any size, and I recommend that you have choices. Okay, I'm going to dip and dot his pupil.
We actually have a good set on our website. That's a set of 3 that gives you all
That's probably
a good
what I should
assortment.
use.
Yeah, it's the soft grip from Royal.
Okay, I wanted them just a little bit bigger, so I went back and dotted it twice, which always makes me nervous because it's hard to hit it right on. So while I'm dip dotting, I'm just going to grab some white paint, and I did switch to the smaller end. I like to make those little cheeks kind of sparkle. A little bit of paint makes a big difference, and that just adds a little bit of whimsy on there. And while we're at it, going back to my 18-aught Epic script liner, just going to pull in a few little comma strokes. My white paint's starting to tack up just a little bit. So I don't need to add a lot of detail on my crow, but it's these little touches that kind of create that added dimension. Oh, let's put some on his little beak here. And he needs nostrils. And when I painted my trial crow, I put the nostrils like up and out instead of out and around. And it looks so weird. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Okay. When you're working with little pieces, take a minute to anchor them down. Oh my goodness. It makes such a difference. So I was looking at my brush. I've got a bit of dry paint on the tip of my brush. This will make a difference, and I can feel it on my fingers. So I am not going to use that brush. It just needs clean. Look at your brushes. If you're having trouble painting something, look at your brushes. A lot of times it's not you. It's something's wrong with your brush. Okay. Very good. Going to add a teeny tiny little highlight on the pupils. I'm going to this smaller stylus. Add that little sparkle. Every little eyeball needs a sparkle. What a difference that makes. Oh my goodness. And because a little bit of paint makes a big difference, I'm picking up just a hint of soft black on my 1/8 inch angle. And remember the background's soft black, so I don't have to be careful. I'm just going to kind of tint the bottom of the eye. Just really warms it up and creates a nice finished look. And it doesn't look good without the beak, so we'll slip that on there.
So Jean, the QR code takes you to our website to get the bundle for this pattern. So you would just scan it with your cell phone. I believe it also puts the link in the chat too, if you'd rather go that way. And if you don't want to use the QR code, this is in the new products section of our website.
So now that I put those white highlights on there, I think his tummy needs just a little bit more of a glow. And maybe on his shoulder. Perfect. Always go back and evaluate. Does it need this or does it not? All right. I need to add some watermelon seeds. And I am going to be using a filbert that is the exact size of the watermelon. And that's going to be a number 6. I did not pull that out. Okay. Keep this simple. I'm just going to do the loading my filbert with soft black. I just kicked the bucket. My watering can or my trash can. Going to touch it down. Is it on camera good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to touch it down, pull it out. Touch it down, give it a little twist and pull it up. And I know that crow is over there, so I'm just going to I don't want a lot. I don't want it too heavy. I'm afraid I'm making it too dotty. Keep a nice smooth pull to this. I'm going to put one down here just because. I told Lindsay adding the crow is an option. You don't have to add the crow. I think he's adorable, but a little bit of a dry here. And to make those seeds look like they're really nicely seeded into that watermelon flesh, just going to load a little bit of deep burgundy and just pull kind of a shadow to the right and underneath the seeds. And it just helps to settle them in so they don't look like they're just painted on top. And just float that down there. I did more watermelon seeds than I intended. It's okay.
It's not a seedless watermelon.
Yeah. That's my favorite, the seedless. We always used to sit outside on the steps with the kids and eat watermelon, and then you spit the seeds in the flower bed. And we had a watermelon vine that grew up. And the watermelon, and we're in Ohio, so we don't have good weather for watermelon in the late fall, but it was unusually warm that year. And I took a picture of the kids holding the newspaper. It was in late November, and that watermelon was probably about 2 foot long. It was huge and delicious. Kids got such a kick out of that. See how they seat in there very nicely. And I'm going back to my Epic script liner. Oops, I forgot one, Lindsay. You didn't tell me. Did I forget that? I can't. Doesn't look like it has shading. Add a little more. Okay. but the seeds look a little bit dull, and we have all this brightness. So I'm just going in with my Epic script liner, a little bit of Snow White, or you can use a stylus to do this if you. And I'm just going to create a little highlight on each one of those seeds. And if your paint is starting to tack up, you're not going to get a good stroke. Load the brush well, have enough moisture that you can pull that across. Oh my goodness, look how that brightens that up. That is so cute. Adorable. Okay. And I did want to add some lettering on the tag, and I went ahead with used a stamp set for this. You can hand paint it. I would recommend probably a number 2 flat to hand paint it. But if you have a stamp set, this is a 1-inch. It comes, there's 2 different parts. There's a capital and then the lowercase. So this is the lowercase. And I think was it a couple weeks ago, I was talking about my stamp set was probably 20 years old. Lindsay researched, and it's only about 10 years old.
This one has the copyright on it.
This one
I
does?
think it does.
Yes, it does. 2012.
It's backwards. Flip it over. Yeah,
Okay.
so almost 15 years old.
You only need to buy it once, and then you have it like forever. I do a lot of Bible journaling. These little letters are great for everything, especially if you're not real crazy about your own handwriting. And I use archival ink. Don't go with, what is it? The dye ink will reactivate with moisture. And if you varnish over it, it'll run.
Or you can use paint, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use paint. I used to do a lot of paint. There's only one E, so I have to do this in sections. And I usually stamp the letters instead of putting the letters in the stamp. And add that over there. So I did this Sunday when I painted the original one, and the W didn't come out really well. So what I did, let me finish this up and I'll show you what I did. I was kind of disappointed. I thought, oh, it needed to be a little bit stronger. This is, it says on here oldest. So this is my oldest stamp pad.
It might be time to get a new one
You
and
think?
re-ink it.
Because I can almost guarantee the stamp pads is as old as the stamps.
Not with that label.
No?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, stamp pads, as long as they're stored properly. I mean, it's ink. It's gonna
Dry up.
dry up. So
And I press for 1, 2, 3, get a nice, oh, shoot. Okay.
you didn't press hard enough. I was gonna say something, but you went too fast.
Okay. Slow down. Take your time. I'm going to line this up.
She's not a stamper.
With the clear handle, you can pretty much reline it. She was keeping an eye on me.
There you go.
Perfect. My W is a little bit weak. And on these thicker letters, you can do this. If you have a clear acrylic handle, it's really not that difficult. I can pretty much line this right up. Are you seeing the top of my head? There we
Good
go.
job.
Perfect. Sometimes you get that, what do you call it, ghosting, that double edge,
It's like a
because
shadow.
it's hard to line them up perfectly, but
Especially when your stamps are archival ink stains sometimes. So like sometimes it's hard to see through. But
Always.
take your time
Yes.
and
Don't rush like I did.
yeah. When
Always.
you rush, that's when you don't get the correct pressure.
Always take time to put your stamp letters back in position because they are real easy to misplace. So we've got our edging around, our shading around there. Let's add a little bit of border on there. And which one do we have here? I'm going to go with it. I'm just doing a little bit of a wiggle. I think this is adorable, having just a little bit more than a plain border. Is that sweet? And I used an 03 micron. This is an 05 micron.
Suzanne says if you don't have an acrylic stamp block, an old CD case minus the paper works pretty good. Yes, you are correct.
Oh,
You can also use a glass.
excellent idea.
Yeah, glasses will work too. I'm trying to think what else.
They're great for stamps. They're great for putting your little pieces on with a little bit of tape. I have used the CD cases
Yeah,
before.
the CD cases. There's something else you can use. Anything that's like kind of like acrylic-y, you can use.
Okay, so we have, I lost my beak. There it is. All right, Chris is going to get the hot glue out here. And Lindsay's holding her breath. Will she? I
She
should,
burns herself every week, so I mean.
I should bring over, when I glue little pieces on like this, I usually use Aleene's Quick Grab Tacky Glue. Now I can attach this directly onto the surface, but I have really enjoyed dimension. These are some just little pieces. If you don't have little wood pieces that you can stack, this is 2/8 inch, so a 1/4 inch. You can also cut a piece of cardboard, corrugated cardboard to get some dimension.
Yes, Jen, clear plate. That was the other one I was trying to think.
What is it?
Clear plate. You can use a clear plate as a stamp pad holder. A clear plate, like a dinner plate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if
Oh,
you get
okay.
desperate.
Never thought
Lisa
of that.
asked where you got the stamp letters. Okay, so this set is from 2012. It's no longer available, but a couple weeks ago, I did some investigative work. You can go to Michael's in the stamping section, and they have tons of alphabet sets. They're usually about $10 or $12. You can get a small. Well, Chris has a small font that she uses, and this 1-inch font that she uses. Catch them on sale. Nice thing is you can use them over and over and over and over again. They're pretty sturdy as long as you take care of them.
I have 2 sets I've used for everything.
Yeah, the
And
little one she's used probably 1,000 times in the past 5 years. I'm being dramatic, maybe 500, but yeah, they hold up really well. But yeah, definitely look at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Both stores will have alphabet stamps in their stamping section. So.
Okay, I'm going to switch out on this.
However, I do not recommend wood block stamps, wood block stamps
No.
these because you cannot see what you're doing.
I-
That's what these
yeah.
acrylic stamps, that's why they're so great. And this is coming from a stamper. I don't use wood block stamps.
Excellent tip, because it's very visual, especially
Yeah.
if you're trying to center it on a tag. You have no clue where it is.
And you can, with a wood block stamp, a lot of times with the letters, you have to do them individually. With the acrylic one, you can line them all up like Chris just did, and you can do them together unless you have to like repeat a letter,
Yeah. Yeah, like the
But
letter E.
it's
but-
faster.
Yeah.
You can line them, and you can also get blocks with the grid lines on. I've talked about this before. That always helps too. I actually have a lot of those because I'm a stamper and my eyeballs are not straight. So I need a grid. But yeah, just some tips from a stamper. So
I've learned a tremendous amount from Lindsay and her stamping experience, and she's very willing to share any tips that she has. But I've also learned as a painter, she does cards, and her cards are immaculate and perfect, and everything is just beautiful. With this, it's more whimsical. I can be a little less detailed, and when you allow it to be a little bit, what's a good word, irregular, it just adds a little more whimsy, a little more personality. And to me, it's a little more relaxing and less stressful. I did create a bow with different colored ribbon. I stuck with red and green, added some lace. There's some muslin in here somewhere. There it is down here. I attached the tag. I did put a little button in the center and created a bow. This is the wire that I tied my ribbons together with, and I just let the loose ends, I attached it to the back of the plaque and then just curled them. I left them long. So I used every bit of it, kept it very simple, added a wire hanger, added a little ribbon bow for the crow, and I had these baby buttons, and I thought it'd be cute to add a little thread in it. I should have went and got a needle and thread to thread it, but I used a piece of twine, and I worked for like a half an hour to get it through those tiny little holes. So if you're using a small button, just get a needle and thread and get it done quickly.
There was a question, the white on the border of the watermelon. So that's what the background is bleached sand, is that
Yeah, I
correct?
base coated the background with bleach sand.
And then Snow White, right, on that.
Snow White's on
And
the
then
inner
raw
edge,
sienna.
raw sand on the
Hey,
outer
I
edge.
remembered.
Yeah.
So it's the background is bleached sand, Sandra, and then Snow White is the white, and then raw sienna is the float there.
Okay. After I created this adorable little bow, I thought, if it had a little more green, look what that does. I just love adding this greener. And this is a berry bush, and I just snipped off the tips of it. I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue. This is all optional, but I think when you add just a little bit more, that always adds just that one thing that steps it up and ramps it up. I don't like them to be even. I add a little bit.
Do you happen to know what gauge wire that is, the fluoro wire?
This is that heavier.
Oh.
The fluoro wire.
Oh, wait, so the heavier wire is probably
Is it 19?
18 or 19 maybe? The one hanging is 18 or 19. The other one, the curly Q one, is fluoro wire.
This one you need pliers to curl it. This one you can curl it with your fingers.
Yeah, it's fluoro wire's a lot easier to work with, but
Oh my goodness.
and I think that's wrapped fluoro wire, it's brown wrapped
It is.
fluoro wire.
Let me stick a little bit on this side. I think I had planned to do this.
And you can get both of those at Hobby Lobby. The only wire we carry anymore, we can't get wire anymore. Our distributor went out of business. So the only wire we have, I believe, is the gold aluminum wire, which I think is 18 gauge, if I remember correctly. It's soft, it's very pliable.
And I did go with a heavier wire to hang it because with the soft wire, it's more bendy.
I wonder
and
if that's steel. Is it steel?
This is steel.
Yeah, it's steel
yeah.
wire.
It's very, very sturdy.
It's not aluminum.
Throw that little English accent in there. I love this. I think it's so adorable. Turned out so cute. Do you like this extra dimension here? Let me know. I like to try different things to ramp it up a little bit. And I think that when you bump things up off the surface, it creates more interest. And if you look at it from the top, you cannot see what's in there. You just know it's raised up. But I did keep the pieces if I have to stack them, I do keep them the same size. If you cut a shape, you could do like a square, it would be perfect. So do we have any questions?
While we're waiting here a couple of seconds. So next week, the plan is Tuesday at 10 a.m. That's always the plan. If something happens, we'll try and announce it at least the day before on Monday. Because Chris is working in doctor's appointments and stuff like that. But again, we'll post something on Facebook if we're going to be delayed or something. And of course, if it's a weather delay, because tis the season in Ohio, we had a doozy on Saturday. Chris didn't experience it, but I did. It was kind of scary. But it's not.
And we don't live that far away.
No,
but
she only lives 10 minutes from here. And I mean, there was limbs and trees down everywhere in this town. And they called the National Weather Service out. So I'll pop the QR code back up, Lisa. That takes you to the bundle for this project on our website. So you just scan that with your phone and that'll bring you to the bundle where you can get everything at $7.83. It gives you the pattern, the tag, the crow, and the board.
what a good deal.
Okay.
I think this would be really cute with or without the crow. And when I was making it, I debated, do I want to do the crow or not? And I thought, well, that could be an option. So if you're not into crows and you don't want to add the extra, I think it would look absolutely wonderful without the crow. So that just gives you another.
That's a good idea. Sandra said she's used water bottle caps before for spacers. That's a good idea.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that would be a nice size in there.
What
a good idea.
Dimension.
Thank you. Really appreciate all the tips you guys leave. If you have any comments or questions, even afterwards, just drop them in the comment line. We always read them. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. If you're on Facebook, follow us, because we always have lots of goodies that we promote and let you guys in on.
And just a reminder, the videos stay on Facebook only for 30 days. That's not our choice. That's Facebook. They're mean. But they are always on our YouTube channel, which is at Cover Distributing. Or if you search Chris Haughey Designs, that comes up as well. But the lives are under the live tab. And then if Chris uploads videos, they'll show on her under the videos. So,
Okay.
all right. Let me flip the camera so you can talk.
So this is a great way to embellish our painting skills with some other fluff and puff, like the ribbons and a little bit of greenery. I think it adds a lot of interest and a lot of whimsy and finishes it off really nice. Lindsay's over there grinning.
Jen just said about the weather. She said,
Oh,
that's money for Brad.
oh,
Because Jen's husband is a lineman, so he always has to work lots of hours when it storms.
yeah.
So,
When
I
the
mean,
weather's
we're here.
bad, he's the man you want to come fix
They were here in
everything.
town fixing the power. So,
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. Again, if this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and we should be here next week.
next
without any
Tuesday again.
problems.
If something happens,
I
we'll
got
let
a
you
couple
know.
ideas brewing in my brain, so
Yeah, and if it's weather related, of course that'll be day of. But like we're supposed to get storms today, so
Yeah.
we beat them.
okay.
Anyway.
So thank you again for joining us. We look forward to our next painting adventure together. And remember, a little bit of paint makes a big difference. Bye-bye.